Have you ever found yourself sitting quietly one evening, maybe with a cup of tea in hand, watching the light fade outside your window, and wondering, is it too late for love? Or maybe the thought crept in more softly, something like, would I even want to share my life with someone again? If you've ever felt that tug, of longing, of hesitation, of quiet curiosity, you're not alone. And today, I want to talk to you heart to heart about a subject that many think about but few dare to speak aloud: remarriage in our golden years. Now let's just pause for a second. Remarriage. The very word can stir up so much emotion, can't it? For some, it brings hope. For others, hesitation. Maybe you've been married before, once, maybe twice. Maybe your partner passed away, or maybe the marriage simply ran its course. Maybe you never married at all, and you're thinking, is now the time? Society often paints love and romance as the territory of the young. But what they don't talk about enough is the deep, mature, soul-nourishing connection that can happen later in life, when we know who we are, what we need, and what we refuse to settle for. So today, let's lay it all out. The good, the hard, the unexpected, and the beautiful truths that come with choosing love again, not in your 30s, but in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Let's start with something we rarely give ourselves permission to say out loud. It's okay to want someone. That longing for companionship, for a hand to hold, for someone to ask how your day was, and actually care about the answer, that desire doesn't vanish with age. In fact, for many women, it grows stronger. After years of giving to others, children, a spouse, aging parents, it's only natural to feel the need to be seen, heard, and cherished again. But here's the thing, wanting companionship doesn't mean you're not strong. It doesn't mean you're not independent. It simply means you're human. Wanting someone by your side isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You know the value of love. You know the cost of silence. And you've probably learned the hard way how precious real connection is. Still, just because the heart is willing doesn't mean the path is easy. For many women, the idea of remarriage brings a swirl of emotions. There's the hope, yes, but also fear. Questions like, will I lose my freedom? Or, what if it doesn't work out again? Or even, will my kids understand? Let's talk about that. Because the first truth about remarriage in our golden years is this: it's different. Completely different. We're not the same women we were at 25. And thank goodness for that. We've grown. We've changed. We've survived. We've learned how to speak up, how to sit with silence, how to care for ourselves. And any relationship we step into now must reflect that growth. At this stage in life, remarriage isn't about building a life from scratch. It's about weaving two full lives together with care. It's not about becoming someone else's everything. It's about being whole on your own and still choosing to walk together. One woman I spoke with recently said something that stayed with me. She said, "I'm not looking for someone to complete me. I'm looking for someone to share my peace with." That's the shift. That's what remarriage looks like in this chapter. Not rescue, not fairy tales, but partnership, respect, comfort, and yes, joy. Still, it's natural to worry about how it will affect your lifestyle. Many women wonder, will I have to give up the routines I love? What if we have different habits, different sleep schedules, different needs? And that's valid, because living alone for many has become a source of freedom. You've created a rhythm. You know your space, your pace, your peace. But love later in life doesn't have to mean giving all that up. In fact, the healthiest remarriages are built on boundaries and balance. It's okay to have your own room. It's okay to take solo trips. It's okay to say, I need some space today. Love doesn't mean losing yourself. It means being yourself and still being chosen. And then there's the question that comes up so often. What will my children think? That's a tough one. because you've probably spent decades putting your children first. Their feelings matter deeply to you. You might worry that remarriage will create tension or misunderstanding. But let me gently offer this. Your happiness matters too. Your life didn't end when theirs began. And you deserve connection just as much now as you did when you were younger. Most adult children, once they see that your relationship is based on mutual respect and care, will come around. Sometimes they just need time. And sometimes, you may need to have an honest conversation with them. Let them know what this means to you, not just emotionally, but practically. Tell them what you need, what you hope for. Help them understand that this isn't about replacing anyone. It's about enriching your own life. And that brings me to one more truth that isn't often spoken. Remarriage in your golden years can feel awkward at first. Dating again, sharing a bed again, learning someone's habits, navigating finances. It can all feel foreign, even intimidating. But here's the beauty. You get to do it your way. There are no rules. You can take it slow. You can have open, honest conversations. You can laugh when things get awkward, and they will. That's part of the magic. Real, unfiltered, grown-up connection. So if you've been thinking about remarriage, or even just dipping your toe back into the waters of companionship, don't let fear hold you back. Yes, there are challenges. But there's also a quiet, powerful kind of love waiting for you. The kind that doesn't need grand gestures, just gentle presence. A love that understands morning silence and aching knees. A love that holds your hand at the doctor's office and makes you laugh at dinner. A love that knows life isn't perfect, but still chooses you every day. And isn't that what we've always wanted? Not a perfect romance, but a real one. One that makes the ordinary feel extraordinary again. Now let's talk about something that often gets brushed under the rug when women our age consider remarrying, healing from the past. You see, by the time we reach our 60s or 70s, we carry a lifetime of memories. Some beautiful, some painful. Maybe you lost the love of your life to illness. Maybe your marriage ended in heartbreak. Or maybe you never really had the kind of love that truly saw you. Whatever your path has been, it shaped you. And that's not something you just put away when a new relationship begins. It's okay to feel hesitant, to wonder if your heart has room for someone new. And it's more than okay to carry both love and grief at the same time. I've spoken to widows who said, "I still love my late husband deeply, but I'm lonely, and I want someone to talk to again." Does that make me disloyal? No, dear friend. That makes you human. Love doesn't have a limit. Choosing to move forward doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means honoring it while allowing yourself to keep growing. But it does take intention, because emotional baggage, if left unspoken, has a way of creeping into new spaces. That's why it's important, before stepping into a new relationship, to spend some quiet time with yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want from this next chapter? What do I need to feel safe, respected, and happy? And just as importantly, what am I ready to give? Because remarriage, especially at this stage, works best when both people bring their whole, healed selves to the table, or at least the willingness to grow. That doesn't mean you have to be perfect or have it all figured out. None of us do. But it does mean being honest with yourself and your partner. Now let's shift to something practical: expectations. We all have them. Some of them we don't even realize we're carrying. Maybe you expect your new partner to be as handy as your late husband was, or as thoughtful as your first love. Or maybe you expect them to not do certain things because you've been hurt before. That's natural. But it's also where many later-in-life relationships quietly fall apart. Not because love isn't there, but because unspoken expectations lead to misunderstanding. So how do we handle that? With clarity and compassion. Talk about the little things: bedtime routines, finances, family gatherings, even TV preferences. Yes, it might feel awkward at first, but the truth is, clarity creates connection. One woman I met said, "My new husband and I keep separate bank accounts. Not because we don't trust each other, but because we both value our financial independence." That's the beauty of remarriage at this stage. You get to write your own rules. There's no one right way, just the right way for you. And that leads me to something I think every woman watching this deserves to hear. You don't have to settle. Not now. Not ever. You've lived too much life, faced too many storms, to silence your voice for the sake of keeping the peace. If something doesn't feel right, speak up. If your needs aren't being respected, stand firm. A good partner, one who's truly worth your time and love, won't be scared off by your honesty. In fact, they'll appreciate it. Because when two people come together later in life, there's no time to waste pretending. And let's not forget the fun parts. Because yes, there are fun parts. Rediscovering romance, laughing until your belly hurts, cooking together, traveling, learning how to dance, even if you've got two left feet. I've seen couples in their 70s holding hands like teenagers at the park. I've watched women glow with new confidence just from feeling desired again. Romance after 60 may not look the same as it did in your 20s, but in many ways, it's even better. There's depth. There's patience. There's gratitude. And those things matter more than candlelit dinners and grand gestures. Still, some women feel unsure about intimacy. What if my body isn't what it used to be? They ask. What if I'm not comfortable being seen that way anymore? Let me tell you something. You are still beautiful. Not because of wrinkle-free skin or a number on the scale, but because of the life you carry in your eyes, the strength in your voice, the warmth in your touch. Intimacy in your golden years isn't about performance. It's about presence, connection, kindness. And a partner who truly sees you will never make you feel less than for the changes time brings. It's also okay to go slow, to say, "I'm not ready for that yet," or "Let's just sit together for now." Intimacy is a spectrum, and there's no rush. It can be as simple as holding hands during a walk or sharing quiet laughter in bed. Sometimes just knowing someone is there, breathing beside you, is the most profound kind of closeness. And if you're still unsure, if something deep inside you whispers, "Maybe this isn't for me," that's okay too. Remarriage isn't a requirement for a fulfilled life. Some women thrive in their independence. They rediscover who they are, travel solo, join book clubs, start businesses. Love comes in many forms, and the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you build with yourself. But if your heart still wonders, if it still hopes, then don't let fear keep you from exploring what's possible. Because sometimes, love in later life sneaks in softly. It doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes, it shows up as someone who makes your coffee just the way you like it. Or someone who listens when you talk about your grandkids. Or someone who looks at you like you're still the most radiant woman in the room, because to them, you are. So wherever you are right now, in a new relationship, thinking about one, or quietly healing from an old one, know this: you are not alone. And whatever choice you make, it deserves to be honored. You know, something truly powerful happens when we stop waiting for life to return to what it used to be, and instead begin embracing it for what it can still become. That's what remarriage in the golden years is really about. Not replacing, not rewinding, but renewing. It's choosing to stay open, even when it would be easier to close off. And that openness? It's a kind of bravery that doesn't always get the credit it deserves. But let's talk about the quieter truths. The ones that show up in daily life once the wedding photos are tucked away, and the excitement of something new settles into the rhythm of the everyday. Because the reality is, remarriage in later life isn't just about falling in love. It's about building peaceful companionship. And that takes intention. For many women, the challenge isn't falling in love again. It's adjusting to life with another person after years of independence. Maybe you've lived alone for decades. You've found comfort in your routines, joy in your solitude, freedom in your space. Suddenly sharing that with someone, even someone you love, can feel like a disruption. There's no shame in that. It's normal. The key is to ease into the change. Allow room for adjustment. Have the conversations that matter about space, habits, chores, privacy. It may sound simple, but things like how you fold towels, when you eat dinner, or whether you watch TV in bed can become sources of tension if unspoken. Clear, kind communication is your best friend. You're not 22, trying to impress. You're a full-grown woman with clarity, values, and a well-earned sense of self. Use it. Speak up. Listen deeply. Laugh often. And don't forget, your remarriage doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Some couples keep 2 homes and visit often. Some live together but keep their finances separate. Some never legally marry but build a lifelong commitment all the same. There's no standard mold anymore. You get to create what works for you, and that freedom is one of the greatest gifts of this stage in life. Still, we need to talk about finances, because love isn't just emotional, it's practical. Remarriage can bring up questions about wills, pensions, inheritances, and more. It's not unromantic to talk about money. In fact, it's responsible. It shows maturity, transparency, and respect for both your future and your family. If you're entering a new marriage, consider talking with a financial advisor or attorney. Lay things out clearly. Protect what you've built, not from fear, but from wisdom. And if your new partner feels uncomfortable with that, it's worth having a deeper conversation. Because true love doesn't ask you to give up your security. It works alongside it. It honors what came before, even while building something new. Now I want to take a moment to acknowledge something tender. What it feels like when remarriage doesn't go the way you hoped. Maybe you've already walked down that path. Maybe you opened your heart again, only to find yourself disappointed or hurt. If that's the case, I want to say this as gently and firmly as I can. It wasn't a mistake. It was courage. It was experience. It was life showing you what you need and what you won't settle for. There's no shame in trying again and finding that it wasn't the right fit. What matters is that you tried, that you believed in love enough to risk the unknown. That is something to be proud of. And if you're still carrying the sadness or shame of a second or third relationship that didn't last, maybe today is the day you let it go. Not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. Forgiveness, especially of ourselves, is the beginning of healing. And healing makes room for joy again in ways we may never have imagined. There's a quote I love. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Isn't that what we're all doing now, in this season? We've seen loss, change, heartache, and still we rise. Still we love. Still we try. That's not weakness. That's resilience. So whether remarriage is something you're already living, something you're considering, or something you've let go of, know this. Your life, right now, is rich with possibility. You are not defined by your relationship status. You are defined by your courage, by your softness that remains even after the storms, by your willingness to keep believing in connection, in laughter, in growth. And above all, you are allowed to want more. More laughter, more tenderness, more evenings with hands entwined in silence. Whether that comes through remarriage, deep friendship, or a beautiful sense of self-reliance, it's yours to pursue. Not in spite of your age, but because of it. You've earned this chapter. You've earned the freedom to write it as you please. So let me ask you, what do you want this next season of life to feel like? What kind of love are you open to, whether it's romantic or otherwise? What kind of peace are you ready to create? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Your stories and insights inspire not just me, but every woman who reads them. If this video spoke to your heart, I hope you'll take a moment to click that like button. Subscribe if you'd like to join a community of women who are living, learning, and loving with purpose at every age. And if you know someone who could use this message today, feel free to share it with them. Sometimes, a few kind words can change someone's whole outlook. Here's to living your truth, to creating joy on your terms, and to the quiet, extraordinary power of choosing love again and again in all its forms. You're not too late. You're right on time. And I'll be right here, cheering you on. See you in the next video.